Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And we're looking at hand penned petals again. I absolutely love this stamp set and there is so much that we can do with it. And today we're going to do a technique which I've done several times before. I don't know whether I've actually put them on the videos because I've done over 500 videos now, which is quite incredible. But it is a spotlight technique, but we're going to do it with a little bit of a twist. So let's start with taking this big, huge image here, and that's the one we're going to use. Now, it is an image which is a two-step stamping, which means that you can colour it in with 2 steps, but it is quite a fine image. So with this spotlight technique, it's the sort of thing that can get lost unless we do something with it. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to put this slightly higher up because I want to put a sentiment at the bottom. And just put that in the centre. And then we're going to stamp that out like that. I'm just putting it to one side for a moment. And then we need to take a scrap. And we're going to do exactly the same thing with the scrap. It's not going to go all the way over. So I'm just going to put a little bit of scrap paper underneath because I don't want to make too much of a mess on my grid paper, because otherwise I'll have to take it off and do it. And I'm going to put this down here so it just sort of goes that way. So you've got a little bit coming off the side, but that's fine because that's what we want. Okay, so we've got those 2 pieces. Now, the spotlight technique you can use, normally we use a circle or something like that, but this time I want to do it so that anybody, no matter what tools and things you've got, all you need is a stamp set or this stamp set and some colours, and that's all you will need. So I'm just going to put this back in its case, and we're going to use Smoky Slate. Now, Smoky Slate is a fairly dark, let me just put this one in on here, like that. Okay, so we have Smoky Slate, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to move that one out of the way for a while. We are going to colour this image in, or do the 2-step stamping, but with Smoky Slate. Because what I want to do is, if I just did the spotlight on there, this is too fine to really show up. So we can do this fairly easily. I'm going to start with one of the little leaves. So there's a 2-step stamping for the leaves. What I do need to do is, and I'm going to put this over on, I've got a little scrap here, to just see just how dark it is. That's going to be perfect. That's going to be perfect. If you wanted to, you could stamp off, but I don't want to stamp off. Now, I'm just going to try and do this at an angle because my camera is right above me, so you'll have to excuse me if it's not completely on. But I'm just going across and doing the leaves. You can see with this 2-step stamping, it's really easy to just line up your 2-step and just put it through like that. Okay, now we're going to do the larger leaves. Let me just get my Simply Chamois out over there so I can just clean those off quickly and then put them back in. And then we're going to take the larger leaf out. I need to wash these ones. I've been using this stamp set a lot, and with photopolymer they don't stick to the case quite as well when you've use them a bit, but you can turn them around. Now these leaves, you can turn them round to different angles. So this one I'm doing this way. Or in fact I might, that's fine. And the other one I'm going to do in the opposite direction, I think, because that's where that little piece comes in on there. Okay, so we've got those two. Let's clean that one off again. And then we've got our flowers. So we'll take our big flower. Get the next size up block for that one. Now if my ink pad isn't very juicy on this one, so the colour is coming out exactly how I want it. If you want it a little, or if your ink pad is very juicy, then what I suggest is that you stamp it off once to get a paler colour, because you don't want it too dark, but you want it dark enough that it's going to show quite well. Let's put this back onto the smaller block. And then we've got this flower in on here, which is I always have to sort of twist them around a little bit so that you can get the rough sort of image on here. Some of them don't fit absolutely perfectly, but that's fine. You can just sort of turn them round a bit so that they go. They're not meant to go exactly, because the idea is that they give that sort of watercolour wash look to it. So I'm just getting the other pieces out, and we'll put this one in on this one here, which is a strange one for lining it up. It doesn't line up particularly well. Let's put those two in on there. That's better, like that. And then we've got this one that does the doubles. So I'm just putting them back in. I'm not putting them in any particular order at the moment. I'll do that all at the end. So we've got this one, and these will do two at once, which is rather good. So we'll have this one in on here, like that. And we'll have this one in on here, like that. Okay, so now we've got our flowers done in the smoky slate. So the next part we need to do is we are going to take this little piece here, and I'm just going to colour in, and this time we're going to use bright colours. I want this flower and these leaves are the bits that we're going to actually show. So this time we're going to do the big leaf, sorry, the big flower first, and I want to have that in the polished pink, which is a lovely bright colour. So let me just line this up in on there. So that's it in the polished pink. And then I'm going to do all of the flowers. I just want to do the two leaves. So we've got the small leaf, and that we need to do in the soft succulent. So let's put that one in on the soft succulent for the leaf. So we want this leaf up here, and we want these two little leaves down here. But you can see how quickly you can stamp them. And then we're going to have the larger leaf. So let me just get that larger leaf out, and that will do the two leaves at the bottom. I'm not sure whether we're going to be getting both of those on, but rather than having to go back and do it afterwards, I just want to do it, get those 2 leaves in. Right, so that's done our little piece on there. Now what we need to do is we need to cut it so that it is going to give us, we could put a sentiment in, couldn't we? Anything is possible. I do like that one. Or a thank you, or let's put anything is possible, because I think that that's quite a nice sentiment to have. So I'm just going to put that on there. And I'm going to do that in black. So let me just get my black. Should have done that beforehand so that it doesn't smudge, but hey ho. Okay, so we want this at the bottom. Anything is possible. And I'm just going to put that straight down at the bottom like that. Okay, so now we need to do the spotlight part, and what I'm doing for this is I want to take, so I want this flower and I want it to come out to the edge. So I'm going to get the trimmer out. Let's move these pieces out of the way so that they're not in what I'm doing. Let's make sure that I'm in, yes, I'm in the camera properly. So I'm just going to have a look at this and see. I want to have it, let me just cut it down to, whoops, I wondered why that wasn't going up. I've got my block in the way. So I'm going to cut it down to where the top of going through that flower, or that leaf rather, I want to take it just to the top of the leaf, because I want that leaf to be in, but I don't want anything else. So I'm just going to cut that straight down there. And then I want it to come. So let me have a look at, I'm going to have a look and see what my measurement is on here. That's going to come to 2. Let me try it at 2 inches and see where that comes. That's pretty good. So we've got a 2-inch piece like this. And then we want to cut it down this way. Is 2 inches going to be too big? Yes, it is. So I need to cut that down a bit more. So I'm going to cut it down. I want it at about 1.5 inches, I think will be perfect. So let's cut that down to there. And that's going to be at 1.5 inches. So we'll take it down like that. So we've just got that little bit of leaf. And then I'm going to take it across this way at 1.5 inches. So let's take it to there. So we've got a 1.5 inch square, or I could have it a little bit longer. I'm just going to have a look on here and see. Yeah, I'm going to have this side. So we've got 1.5 inches one side, and this side I'm going to have at 1 3/4, I think. Yes. So let's move that down like that, 1 3/4. Okay. So what I do need to do is, because I've got some little bits up there that I need to have some colour in. So let's have a look and see if that's, no, that's going to be too big. I'm fiddling about with the size because I want it to be, so we're going to take this down a bit. So we're going to take this to 1 1/4, because that's going to take that, so I don't have to colour that bit. So that's 1 1/4. And this is then going to be, let's see, 1 1/2. So 1 1/4 by 1 1/2 will work perfectly. Okay, because we don't want it too big. So we've got 1 1/4 by 1 1/2. And then while I'm there, I just need a little mat. So we've got 1 1/4 by 1 1/2. So we want 1 1/4 plus 1/8 of an inch. can go down to there, and 1.5 plus, oh, that's not going to go right, is it? So let's see if that'll go in that way. Oh yes, that's not going to be too bad. So this is 1.5. Let's just take that and sharpen that up a bit, because that's not completely straight. I'm faffing about now, so ignore my faffing about, but I think that that will, let's just see on here, that definitely will go perfectly that way. I just need to straighten up this little bit here, don't I? Because that's just a little bit straight, because these are literally just tiny little scrappy pieces that I've got. Okay, so that's given me my mat, and I've done the mat at 1/8 of an inch. So we can then put this on, and we want it so that it comes literally just 1/8 of an inch in on there. So that's a really quite a tight little border. So let's have a look and see. That will work. I need to take just a little smidge off of this bit because it's just a little bit too tight. So I can take that off the bottom of this leaf bit, can't I? So I'm just taking a little tiny smidge, not even a an eighth, about 1/8 of an inch off, to just get that just a little bit smaller. Okay, right, we've finished. So just play around with your size so that you get it, so that you've got a little bit of a border, but you don't want too much on there. And then what we need to do is we need to just pop some wet glue in on here and put this little mount on. And that's why I've chosen the black and the smoky slate. Now, you could choose smoky slate on smoky slate, but I wanted this to be, to give that extra sort of bit of pop to it. So I'm just putting that on there. Okay, so that's our piece like that. Then we need to take a piece of black cardstock. So I've got a piece of black on here, and then this is going to go in like that on there, and then this piece will actually work and will fit exactly into where the, you can see where the flower is on there. You can line it up completely. So I need to take it in. You can see the bottom and the top on there. And I'm not putting it up with dimensionals. I'm just literally, because it is a spotlight, I'm only doing it with just the same level. So let's line this up with, we've got these two leaves down on here. We've got this piece in on there. We've got this one up on there. So as I say, as you put it down, before you commit yourself, just make sure it's lined up as perfectly as you can get it. And that's why it's quite good to have a few little focal points on there, and for it to come out more than just one piece. So you can see on here, you've got that little bit there which is green, and that little bit there which is grey, and then that will work through. And then you've got a rather simple but quite striking spotlight card, which you've done with a panel rather than a circle, and you've just got it. I'm not going to stick that on now because I'm going to cut something out of that base. But it makes quite a clean and simple card. Again, it would work for a masculine card. You could do it in blues. But it's quite clean and simple, but it looks very pretty. So thank you so much, as always, for watching. All details will be below of the stamp set, which is the Hand Penned Petals, in my description box below. Thank you so much for watching me. As always, please stay safe, please stay well, and please be kind, and see you again soon. Bye bye.